Hi everyone, I'm Delahan. If you're like me playing Hytale on Linux and you've been running into some issues with your game occasionally freezing, or you get kicked out to the login, or your entire computer freezes, then I might have the solution for you. Now, this is going to apply to Linux computers with AMD GPUs, and it's not necessarily going to fix all performance issues if you're having some. Just a disclaimer, but it might be the thing that gets you back up and running if you're getting completely frozen up or if your game is crashing. So this happened to me on my AMD setup. I have a Ryzen CPU and a 6800 XT GPU, and it's the same for other games with OpenGL. Occasionally they'll freeze up, like in Minecraft. Also, I was having the same issue. So today I'll explain what's going on and how to fix it with a simple trick called Zink. This works great for new Linux users or even Steam Deck users. So let's dive in. First, what is causing the issue? It's not your game, it's not Hytale's fault, it's not even your hardware. It's a bug with the AMD graphics driver on Linux. Hytale uses OpenGL, just like Minecraft, and with AMD GPUs, this can cause ring timeouts, where the GPU gets stuck and freezes your system or your game. This will cause errors that show in logs like AMD GPU ring GFX timeout that occasionally fail to recover and then dumps the core. This is where you crash and your game either shuts down or your whole computer freezes up. This is what it looks like for me, taken from my journalctl logs. You can use a command from terminal like journalctl and grep ring gfx underscore 0.0.0 timeout. If you're having that problem, it should show up in some form like you see from this excerpt in my logs. If you run that in your terminal like this, you should see results. If you don't, this may not be your issue, but it still doesn't hurt to use Zink due to the unstable nature of OpenGL with AMD on Linux. This has become pretty common on Linux distros, Ubuntu, Arch, Fedora, and some reports on Steam Deck of crashes with OpenGL games. So this is not an issue on Windows. It's unique to Linux and the AMD video drivers. So this is fixable without buying new hardware, and the solution is something called Zink. Zink is a free tool already in your Linux graphic driver that runs OpenGL games over Vulkan instead. Vulkan is way more stable on Linux with AMD, so no more timeouts. I tested it with Hytale, and then I went back and tested it with Minecraft, and it's been smooth sailing on both. For Steam Deck users, this works too. Hytale is experimental on deck, but you can follow similar steps for setting up Zink in Steam Deck desktop mode. First, Hytale is distributed on Linux as a flatpak, so it's easy for installing and modifying for beginners. With flatpaks, you can make changes or create what's called overrides to tell it to use something like Zink instead of OpenGL. So before we add those overrides, we just need to know what version of Zink is available to you on your distro. And without getting lost in the technical details, this will depend mainly on whether you're using X11 or Wayland. With newer dependencies, you can use Zink's DRI3. If you're using X11 like me, it will tell you that DRI3 is not available and you have to utilize an older version. It's no problem, still works just fine, but it will require you to use a different command if you don't have the newest version. And I'll show you both in just a second. So the way we test our system to see what version is available, we do it with something called GLXgears. If you can run this first command and the gears render, then you're all set. If it says it's not available, like on my system, we use this other command that tells it to fall back to an older version. Now if you can run DRI3, you run this flatpak command to set Hytale to use Zink. For older versions, you have to add the second command. Alternatively, you can run both in one command, and I'll show you these commands on screen and in the description. Now after running this override, you can relaunch Hytale and then press F7 twice. In the top right corner under rendering, it should show Zink Vulkan with your version of Vulkan. From there, you just want to test and make sure that crashes no longer occur. So I've been testing it for 2 weeks now, or since just shortly after the game launched. I was crashing pretty much every day. So since then, I have never crashed again, and the errors in my logs have completely disappeared. If this worked for you, please let me know in the comments. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them there. Please like and subscribe, as I have more content planned for Hytale. I will cover mods like the ones you can see me using here, as well as other technical and optimization related content for the game.